Okay, hardly one of these unboxing videos, but just got this off of eBay. Now, it is a Hiscox case, which in itself is worth a fortune, but we have a Yamaha 12 string. It is a FG 410 12A. It's in remarkably good condition. There's a few, if you just see the reflection of the light on it there's a few little scuffs, but you know, the lacquer hasn't been broken. If we do a close-up, we probably can't see, there's no wear on the frets at all, right? This thing has barely been played. It's in remarkably good condition. Now, downsides: action is a bit high. It's not mercilessly high, but it's high. And the strings on it have been on it since Pontius was a pilot. The strings are ancient, but we'll give you a bit of a strum on it. Will you hear? Turn it around. So it sounds fine. Okay, so the plan is, over time, we're going to replace the saddle, lower the saddle, pickup, and a end pin, what's the word I'm after, preamp, end pin preamp. We're going to cut a battery box port in there as well. So I'm going to leave the nut as it is, because frankly, a 12 string nut's a pain in the neck to work on, just because it's so fiddly. And that one's fine. So yeah, that's my little project for the next few weeks. Okay, so bizarrely, absolutely no intonation adjustment on this saddle. So we're definitely going to look to improve that. We're going to cut a new saddle here from a bone blank, which I've actually marked it slightly too long. Incidentally, I sell these. If you look up M. Edwards Guitars on eBay, many saddles and bone nuts blanks are available. Okay, easy way to sand, rather than trying to use the sandpaper on the piece of bone. The bone still Okay, here's a cunning trick. Rather than removing the strings completely, detune them, stick a capo on, and you can pull the bridge pins. The strings come out with usually not too much of a bass, and then you can get out your saddle and you can adjust everything, put the strings back on again, and see how things go. Okay, so no sense in destroying a perfectly reasonable plastic saddle. Use it as a template. We're going to lose about 2mm off the bottom of it as well to fit the saddle, the under saddle pickup in there as well. And just confirming that the under saddle pickup fits nicely. It goes in like that. once it's all fade through, that goes in there, and just pop it in. Now that adds a couple of mil to the height of the saddle, which obviously when we're making the new saddle we will remove that. But there's the under saddle pickup fitted, cable in there, the preamp will go in there as the new strap button when the old one comes out. Okay, so here's our two saddles, the plastic one and the bone one. Now the bone one obviously is a lot less tall because there's a saddle filling, piezo filling the gap, so that drops in there. You've noticed I've said I put an F for front on it to keep myself organised, so that goes in there. There's a slight bit of movement on it, flat topped, just to get me started, so that goes in there. Okay, so quickly mock up, we have battery, preamp, cable, amplifier, saddle, okay, so that's picking that up through the saddle into the amplifier. Okay, strap button, I know already it comes out. Get rid of that. We now make the hole. Actually, don't need to drill the hole at all. There's news. Okay, that now peeks out of there, and we put the nut on. Okay, that's on tight. Let's get that out of the road. Nut then. Strap button. This is where it slips. Finger tight, and that shows enough pride to get the cable in. Okay, and there's still just a little bit of play, so we're fully in. Okay, and again a quick check. It's coming through the amplifier, so we'll leave the battery for now, get these strings back on it, see how things sound. Okay, sadly, bringing it back up to tune again, strings will break, so yeah, we'll see. Just on this as a first attempt, action still leaves a lot of room to maneuver, so rather than bringing it fully up to tune, I will lift it out and take another millimeter off the saddle to see how we get on. Okay, so taking this down further, as it stands, we need a little bit off the bottom, flat on the concrete window ledge, and a great way to sand the ends off your fingers as well, so take your time, be sensible, watch it, and gradually work it down. So new saddle in place, 11 of the 12 strings tuned back up again. So once the new strings are ordered, once they arrive, we can look at the intonation, which we'll cover another day. This is the power for the preamp. I've ordered the battery box, which will go in here, but for now, physically doesn't look hugely different. The neck fingerboard will need to be all tidied up with some nice lemon oil before we're done, but for now, until the new strings arrive, back in the case. Okay, so the string fairy has arrived. So a few sets of strings have come. I'm going to give the fingerboard a bit of a conditioning. So this is lemon oil. Not only does it smell incredible, it does lovely things to your fingerboard. Like I say, this fingerboard virtually untouched. The frets are like as new, and it's just not right that a guitar doesn't get played. And part of playing a guitar is, yes, there's wear on the frets. It's part of, you buy new tires for your car because they wear out, and it's just the same with frets. They do wear, but only if you use the thing. So that goes on there. We clean it off and basically rub it in, and that's conditioning the fingerboard. Horribly complicated stuff. Hardly. And I normally do this every time I change a set of strings on a guitar. And like a bottle of lemon oil will last decades. It don't wear out. You're not going to use it. I challenge anybody who's not doing work on other people's guitars to ever finish a bottle. There you go. Fingerboard nicely conditioned, and that's all it takes. So now the next step is going to be string up with the new strings, which will be more flexible and won't be as likely to break. And then we're moving into the scary world of intonation. Now, intonation adjustments on a 6-string are relatively straightforward. 12-string is just a bigger job because, funnily enough, there's more strings. But doable. That's the next job. Okay, so new strings on, tuned up, left for it overnight to allow the whole thing to settle. Action's still, let's be honest, a little bit high, but there is room to bring the saddle down. Now this is without the intonation done. I'm very, very happy with that indeed. But intonation, we'll get that done. We'll lower the action another millimeter whenever we're doing that. The problem with 12 strings is doing work like this. You're tightening up, you're loosening the strings break. That 8 there is gonna go. It just is. So we'll mark it first. And the way to mark it, whenever I changed the strings, I kept the offcuts, and you'll see why in just a second. Okay, I've actually picked an awful guitar to demonstrate this on because it needs virtually no adjustment at all. To the technique is on the octave, the harmonic, let's go with the IE, and the fretted need to be the same. Okay, so what I've done here is I have the offcut from one of the strings to make a micro bridge. Okay, matches. Now we mark that with a pencil as I've done on the previous one, and take it out, file the front edge down to meet that, and that is the takeoff point. And that's all there is to it, really. And like I say, I normally do it with the tuner on the deck. All the rest, excuse me, are within 1 cent of being right. So, frankly, they can stay as they are. Okay, a wee thing here I want to show you that's not actually visible if you come in close up. Where am I? Can't see. Now, what I'm doing here, let's get that. Okay, if I touch that string with a plectrum there, I'm actually damping it because the edge that is highest on the saddle is the edge nearest the pins. Okay, so I've drawn diagrams. Okay, so what you want whenever you're first roughing out the saddle is a flat top, so the string goes across it and touches it the whole way across. What I have here, and what is really common, exaggeration, is that, so that no matter, you know, the point where the string leaves the saddle is there. Okay, and then once you've filed it to get your intonation correct, you need to file the back face as well, so that the break point is where you actually want it to be. Okay, same happens at the bridge. So if you are doing a bridge, be careful that the bottoms of your slots aren't like that, so that the first fret distance isn't actually the fret plus the width of your nut. But next job, get this out, file it to basically remove all the pencil lines, and bring it back out. Now, where it's going to get awkward and fiddly is around those where you have two strings side by side, obviously, and they're not the same because the strings are different thicknesses. They need to be different, so it needs to be very accurately done, and it is a fithery job, but that's what's next. Okay, so I have horribly abused my saddle. Just line it up so you can see. That goes back into place again, tune it up, and all we have left then to do is fit the battery box, which is still to arrive in the post. Okay, so hole cut, soldered, here we are for the battery pack. Incidentally, if you look in there, there is the block of wood that holds the whole thing together at the base. So the screw will go, where's my hand go? Let's see. When that goes in there, the screw will go through there into that end block. This one I'm going to super glue in a little block of wood in there to hold the screw there. And electric guitar amp, I know, but it works. Needs tuned up obviously, but that's it done.